Hi everyone and welcome back to the Colour Cave where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem and today it's actually a viewer's request video. Loads and loads of you wanted me to review the Amazon Basics pencils and put them through the Cave Road test basically. So that's what we're going to do today. So as you can see here I have the box and this is the 72 set. This is how the box arrived from Amazon. This is how it came. So like the address sticker's literally on the other side of this. I wasn't sure what to expect. These were retailing on Amazon UK for just over £30 at one point. And then we had the Prime Big Deal event in the middle of October, and I kind of thought that they might pop down in price there because I had a discussion with someone in the EU who buys from German Amazon, and they're like €15 for this set on German Amazon. So I thought, oh, maybe they'll come down in the Prime deals. They did not. After the Prime deals had finished, I found these on Amazon UK for £15.86. So that is what I paid for them. So it's one of those ones, I think you might have to watch the prices. Here's the conversions. Most places, most Amazon sites, Amazon US and Amazon Germany, you'll probably be able to get them and get a more accurate price. But this is what a UK pound converts to, just to give you a guideline. So £15 for a set of 72 pencils is really, really cheap. That is a bargain set of pencils. So I'm going to kind of like try and bear that in mind as we take a look at these. Straight away, the thing that's making me chuckle is they're in this lovely bubble wrap and they're in this metal tin. It's a silver tin and it says premium coloured pencils. No set of pencils at £15 for 72 pencils is a premium set of pencils. It is a budget set of pencils. So let's just get that straight. I am assuming that these will fall into the budget category for the very same reason that other pencils are put in the category. It's unlikely that these are available open stock. I will obviously research that. I'll let you know up here whether I'm right or wrong. And I'm also assuming that these will have a no light fastness rating. The main question that I want to answer for myself in this video, because I have never touched these pencils in my life. I've stayed away from other reviews so I don't give you a biased opinion. If I was a beginner and I was looking for a decent set of pencils, would these be pencils that I would pick, or would I pick another budget brand? Because there's lots to choose from and this is quite a competitive sector of the market. So let's take a little look. Oh, I'm instantly getting like Arteza vibes from these. Do look quite pretty here. Let's take a look at them individually. So we have a coloured barrel that matches the core colour, and for the most part they look fairly uniform. They've got this horrible flat sharpened end. I hate that in pencils. It says Amazon Basics and we have a colour and a number, so that's really, really good for a set of budget pencils. There's a couple here where the paintwork's looking a little bit dodgy around the very edges, but actually not too bad at all. The barrel feels quite thin as well. Again, if there's any technical specifications, I'll pop them up here for you as we go along. So yeah, they feel reasonably sturdy, and the core's quite thick compared to the casing on the outside, so I don't know how well protected that's going to be. Kind of difficult to get your fingers in there, but oh, there we go. Let's see what's on the bottom. Oh, they've been brave. We've got a gold and a silver. Well, I definitely want to test those out. Okay, so first impressions, they look respectable enough. There seems to be a fairly decent colour range. I'm always really interested in the blue and blue violet section. That's where these sets seem to lack the most. And again, I can see like two violet colours there, and this blue. But we can have a little look at that. That's fine. The paint job's kind of chipped on some of them at the bottom, but it looks like transit chips. It doesn't look as if it's, this great disaster. Really like to test these pencils out on cartridge paper, and I happen to very much like the Artful cartridge paper, so that is what we're going to use. So I just want to pick a couple of pencils at random. I will swatch them all out. Obviously that'll be a time lapse, but I want to just pick out a couple of colours here and there just to see what we're dealing with. I'm really interested in this pencil here, blue-grey, yeah. And obviously I need a green. Let's go for this grass green. Okay, they seem to have fairly sensible colour names as well, like light green, grass green, lavender, light blue, scarlet to blue-grey, gold. So let's start with what I know will be one of the softer feeling cores, and that would be a red colour. Let's just have a wee go here. Oh, that's quite interesting. It's quite a soft pencil, which wasn't expecting. Fairly uniform as well, able to layer it up quite well as well. And the colour is fairly true to the barrel as well. Okay, I'm off to a good start. Let's try this green colour. Yeah, that's it. The core softness seems quite consistent. Blue tends to be a harder colour. It's just the ingredients they use to make up the, you know, the pigment that they use to make up the actual colour. Now these are quite vibrant as well. I'm liking that. We do have some sort of vibrancy here. Yeah, do you know what? These are quite nice. Okay, well, okay then. The grey doesn't feel so good. The grey feels like a cheap pencil. That's struggling a wee bit more as well. It doesn't have the same creaminess. That is the blue grey. So that definitely feels like a different pencil. Let's try the silver, and the silver is grey. It has got a bit of a sheen to it, I'll give it that. Yeah, that's not terrible also. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with the metallic pencils as well. Okay. First impressions, really good. I'm enjoying that the pencil colours are quite close to the paint colours on the barrels. Personally, I am a very visual creature, and when I'm getting to know a set of pencils, that's the kind of indicator that I'll go for to pick up a pencil until I learn them basically, and also having them in a certain sequence, which tends to be the manufacturer's sequence, to be perfectly honest. I don't start like custom sorting them or anything. These feel quite smooth though. The laydown is consistent as well. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to swatch out the whole set, and then we're going to try a bit of layering and blending to see how we get on, and see if we can continue on this good first impression. Alright, I've popped that there for our white pencil, so I'm going to do that at the end. I'm going to give that plenty of drying time. Okay, there's everything swatched out, so just want to talk a little bit about my observations as I was going through that process there, because there's lots of wee things that run through my mind. I really enjoyed these yellow colours here. These were lovely. They're really vibrant as well, and I like the inclusion of the warm and cool, and this like sort of one step darker colour as well. So I'm really happy with that. As with most of these types of sets of pencils, there are a few colours that are quite close together and I think are unnecessary. This colour here and the vermilion are so alike. You know, unless you have a discerning eye or are a bit more of an experienced colourist, there's virtually no difference between these. And for a set of 72, I mean, it's not redundant, but you know, maybe we could have had other colours instead. Super excited about the inclusion of this colour here, this sort of dusky purple colour, and that was the hydrangea pink. One of the things I see with these types of sets, and that's where they fall down a lot of the time, is we have lots of these really bright, fun, vibrant colours, and there's very few muted colours, and they've done really well of keeping a balance between the two. This blue is absolutely gorgeous. This is the Prussian blue, but also even down into the greens, there's plenty of muted greens to choose from as well. I think this is called teal green. It's a really nice colour. and obviously down into the earth tones, which are by nature more muted. So I think they've got a really good balance of fun bright colours and the slightly more muted colours that you may see in more sort of realistic artwork. They seem to have quite a good warm cool balance as well. As predicted, the selection of purples is very limited though, and I always think that that's an area that's lacking in cheaper sets of pencils, so that's an area where I feel they could have utilised their colour selection better. So I'd like to point out this hot pink colour here. This like, it punched me in the face when I put it down on the paper. Wasn't expecting that much thick, rich, vibrant pigment, and it is a really, really bright colour, and it's even brighter in real life than it's shown on the camera. So I was quite impressed with that as well. Lovely selection of greens. I thought I wasn't going to be that impressed. Again, a couple here just really close together. There's no need for that whatsoever. And then I thought, oh, we're going to get these really sort of vibrant jewel tone colours. But as we kind of come down the ranks a little bit, you know, we can see here we've got mossy and kind of like olive green colours. So I would have preferred more of a lean towards this sort of idea, but I realise that that's a preference thing for me. But there are lots of very light and bright, vibrant colours. These two are kind of leaning towards turquoise. I wouldn't say that they're turquoise though, I would call them green. There isn't really a turquoise colour in here. There's blues that have got a slight hint of green in them and vice versa, but there isn't actually a true turquoise colour. So that was a little bit disappointing from my perspective. This is I think this is probably the closest thing. Yeah, there isn't actually a colour labelled as turquoise here. We have turquoise green, which is this one here, and that's the closest we've got to a turquoise. So I think they kind of dropped the ball a wee bit there with that one. Absolutely love the ochre pencil. I love a good ochre pencil, and this is excellent. The colour next door to this is light ochre, and it's kind of like a half step between the ochre and this yellow colour up the top, which I think is a chrome yellow. I feel it's a bit pointless in a way, but it's got that kind of mango feel to it. So I actually quite like the inclusion of it, although I wouldn't call it a light ochre. I think that belongs up here, which is fine. I could move that about to suit myself. Again, going back to these sort of more muted colours, the selection of reddish browns here and this lovely deep purpley maroon colour, I think it is actually... Yep, it's called maroon. Lovely to see that. Always a bit suspicious when I see this many browns in a set, but there's really nice variation between them, and that same suspicion always happens for me for greys as well. And I find that if they do include a lot of greys that aren't stepped down the way the Prismacolor and Polychromos ones are, you know, so like warm grey 1, 2, 3 or whatever, yeah, you tend to find you end up having a couple that are the same. They've given a really good inclusion rate here of greys, and they're all very different as well, and obviously depending on what kind of pressure you use, then you can get lighter and darker variations within each pencil. So once again, a little cave round of applause for the grey selection. Something that irked me slightly is this up here, their supposed flesh colours. Number one, I hate that they call them flesh because come on. But that look, that's practically non-existent, and this is just the tail end of this pencil, or even this pencil with a slightly different tint to it. There is absolutely no reason for this pencil to exist. And they could have done a much better job with that. So that's really the only like strong feeling I had negatively about this set of pencils upon swatching them all out. The gold and silver are pretty good as well. They're far better than the Polychromos gold and silver. That's one thing, although I highly recommend Polychromos pencils to everyone, the metallic pencils are absolute rubbish and they shouldn't be in the set. The white is sort of what I expected here. I wasn't expecting a really opaque pencil because this is a budget set of pencils. But just going through the motions here of swatching these out generally, I really got like an Arteza vibe from them. They're like a cheaper Arteza pencil. That's kind of where I'm sitting with them, and even from the point of view of the softness level of the pencils, you know, the actual cores as well. It's been a long time since I've used Arteza pencils, so I don't know how well my memory's serving me right now, but that was the kind of vibe I got straight away, you know, just working my way through the colours. So you can take from that what you will. So what I want to do down here now is just a little bit of layering and blending to see what we're going to look like. So as always, I like to grab a red and a yellow because it's really easy for you to see. So the first thing we want to do is blend these colours together and see how well they do that. They are quite soft, and this paper has a little bit of texture, so I'm hoping we'll be able to do something with this. So start with my red on one side and my yellow on the other, and we'll bring these together in the middle. Just start to smoosh these together a little bit. So we should be able to create a sort of orange tone in the middle that would allow us a transition area between the two colours. It's not it's not great, but it's not bad. I feel like I actually feel if we brought in the native orange that comes in the set and popped that in the middle, we could get a really nice transition here. Okay, yeah, okay. I'm not super excited about that. I'm not super unexcited about it though. They do smoosh together fairly well, to be fair, where you can eliminate most of your pencil strokes in between. So okay, I'll give that a pass. So the other method that we do is to layer them up, and that is to see if we can create an orange by layering these pencils up. So obviously we don't need to make orange because we have orange choices in our repertoire because we've got 72 pencils, but as I say, this is just a really easy example to show you because it's easy to see on the camera. And if I just keep building these layers up, this is also testing out the layering ability of these pencils. And again, this paper's got a bit of texture, so it is going to take a couple of layers. And a lot of the time, the tolerance is down to the paper and not the pencils. But some pencils layer up better than others. So I'm making sure I'm keeping a light pressure here because I want to be able to build this up and make quite a rich colour. And again, I can control how many layers of each colour. See, we're starting to get into quite nice orange territory there. Just get rid of some of those pencil lines. Yeah, I'm fairly impressed with that as well. That's actually quite smooth. Let me just zoom in a little bit on that for you. That's not bad at all. Not bad at all. Good job, Amazon Basics. Now, as always, I like to say the proof is in the pudding. It's all very well talking about all this and, you know, all this is wonderful and blah, blah, blah. Try colouring something with it and that's when you really find out how practical they are. We need to test them for sharpening as well. So I'm going to pop this out the road. And I've got my little guinea pig book here, which I'm sure a few of you will be familiar with. And this is World of Flowers by Johanna Basford. And this is my test page. We've had some absolute crackers and we've had some stinkers as well. So, you know. So let's try something nice in here. I really want to use this ochre colour because it was just lovely. Like, it really was lovely. So I'm going to grab that for a start. Normally I would use my Tegal sharpener here. This is the multi-sharpener. When I'm testing pencils out, I tend to use a number 3 because that's the halfway point between 1 and 5. I just want to nip the tip off this and see if I can get a cave pointy point on it. It's very important to have a pointy point, you know. Look at that. Perfecto, no complaints there. It did as it was told, because that lets us get into the sort of tighter spaces here as well. So let's just start off. First of all, using a feathering technique, which is a technique that I am very partial to. So having, you know, a few more layers and a deep dense colour at one point, and then letting up pressure and letting that colour fade out as you go. And you can see that's lovely and smooth. That's nice. Now, as with all things, and I say this about all the pencils when we test them, there are other factors, obviously, that are going to affect this. Number one is your pencil skills. The whole point of me doing this is I have good pencil skills, and I can gauge and tell people with lesser pencil skills whether or not it's the pencil that's the problem or it's me. And obviously at this stage it's less likely to be me, but these are super smooth. The other thing that's always a deciding factor as well is that combination of pencil and paper. And what I find with Johanna's older colouring books, it's a paper that tends to be quite biddable and will play well with most mediums, especially when it comes to coloured pencil, because obviously that's what they were designed to take in the first place. So this is kind of a safe bet, and this is like my control, because I know this paper well. I know this book quite well as well, and these pencils are so happy. Like, look how delicate that is. And as I said, it's so refreshing to have these slightly more muted colours, because so often with these cheaper sets of pencils, it's a riot of like bursting with colour like this, and you don't often have that more subdued palette, which people like me absolutely crave, because I want to colour in animals, I want to colour in forest scenes. You know, I'm not all unicorns and flowers kind of thing. So for me personally, that is very refreshing. But I do think as a set, the 72 palette is very balanced compared to some of the other sets in the same price range. I think this is one of the better ones for sure. So let me just finish this off now. You all knew this was going to happen, the hydrangea pink colour. I only came across one pencil that had a really off-centre core, and that was the Carmine pencil. If I show you that side of the pencil there and then slowly twist it, you can see that angle there, and that's because the core's off-centre in the middle. That's usually an indicator of the build quality, you know, the manufacturing quality of the pencils. That was the only one. It does happen sometimes, you know, sometimes they just go in at an angle and that's going to be the outcome, but to have one pencil in a set of 72 is absolutely no cause for concern. Look at this colour, oh my. I'm just really into this. And I'm going to blend this into this ochre colour, just because I can. I'm only going to do it at the corners though. So this is going to be nice and delicate. I kind of get, like cherry blossom vibes from that colour. That's going down beautifully. The core seems quite consistent as well. You know, I'm not getting any sort of like scratchy patches. It's nice and soft and gentle going down. And that you can see that colour's really delicate. Really, really nice. Okay, so let's pick something a bit more feisty, shall we? Because we kind of like it feisty. So I've got here magenta and hot pink. Again, two very strong colours, which I just really liked instantly, and it's quite interesting because I'm not really a pink person. I'm, you know, I'm not normally attracted to pinky type colours, so I think that's quite interesting in itself. So I want to build this up. I'm really going to layer this magenta colour up in at the base here and see what we can do. You know, really get it going. This bad boy. Look at that, so rich. And then I'm gonna meld this hot pink in with it, which is gonna be an absolute riot. But this is a really good blending exercise as well. These are two colours that would blend really well together. I think as well, on the next petal I do, I'm not going to try and layer them up. I'm going to go in hard the way you would with a soft pencil like a Prismacolor, because with Prismacolors they're very unique in that you can be one and done. You can smoosh that colour down in one layer, press really hard, and it will stick out like a sore thumb. So you know, there's that. So I would like to try that with these. So I'm going to try that with this one next door. So not layering up, just pressing really hard, like almost going to make a dent in the paper kind of thing. Because this also lets me test the softness of the core. Right, I'm going to let it up there because I need to be able to blend these together. Do the same with that pink colour is outrageous. It really is hot pink. Look at that. Can't complain. So let's take a look at the tips now. Yeah, so the tips are pretty, they are pretty soft. They're not as soft as Prismacolors, which means you'll get more wear out of them. You know, they're not going to run down so quickly, because that's one thing I do feel about Prismacolor pencils. If you're outside of the US, they're very, very expensive, and I almost feel as if they're a bit of a false economy because you have to sharpen them all the time, and obviously that means you go through the actual pencil a lot quicker. I have replaced at least twice as many Prismacolors as Polychromos, if not more, and I use my Polychromos more often. So if you're in the States, I mean, it's fine. They're easy to get hold of. They're widely available. For someone in the UK, they are not widely available. So that's just something I like to kind of point out. They still have really good leather. Look at that pigment load, like that. You cannot complain at that for the price of these pencils. And this is the thing, it's all relative. You have to put it in perspective. You know, people will turn around and say, oh, can you tell me something that's like a Prismacolor pencil? Well, this is kind of like a Prismacolor pencil, but within its budget. And someone will say, oh, I tried them, they're nothing like Prismacolor pencils. Well, they're not, because you're not paying the same money for them. But they do have soft characteristics, which is what the likes of a Prismacolor is known for. Personally, my opinion is, for people starting out with coloured pencil, you don't want a really, really soft pencil to begin with. You want something kind of in the middle, and it's just so that you can figure out your own preferences, nothing else, no other reason. Obviously it's easier to figure out if you want to go harder or softer if you're in the middle, and you can try a slightly harder and a slightly softer one and draw your own conclusions from there. Yeah, so I've just sort of sharpened that, and impressing down on it, it's crumbled a wee bit, so that's also another indicator of the softness level of the pencil. So I'm going to grab one of the blue colours now. This is really just for range of colours. I know it's not necessarily going to go well together. Not really the purpose here right now. But let's just see, there you go, look, nice. Maybe make that a little bit more pronounced in these sections. I can tell you right now, because the thought's starting to enter my mind, knowing the information that I know and using the pencils that I use, if I were a beginner, and even if I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to use coloured pencils on a regular basis, or whether I didn't know if I was going to stick with adult colouring as a hobby, if you can spare £15, you know, if that is within your budget, I would absolutely buy these pencils. I really genuinely would. This would be a great starter set. They're very nice to use, and I think they're quite user friendly as well. So if you're not that familiar with coloured pencil and you've maybe not picked up coloured pencils since you were a kiddo, this is definitely going to be. They're going to be kind to you. They're going to, you know, they're quite forgiving. Now, I'm going to use my own colouring method here. A lot of tutorials that I do and show, I use a full layer of the lightest colour in an area first. And that is what I'm going to do here. I'm actually going to put 2 light layers down. And then I want to see how this is going to go over the top of this, because this blue is quite a milky colour. So I just want to see how it affects the colour on top of it, you know, what the opacity is like. Because I feel like that light blue is quite opaque. It is. That pencil's still working quite well over the top of that as well though. See that there? Yeah, these pencils are nice, guys. For my own preference, I tend to be an oil-based pencil person, and these are indeed wax-based pencils as far as I know. Again, I will double check that, and I will put a little check mark here or something, let you know whether I'm right or wrong. I'm assuming these are wax-based. As I say, I deliberately don't, before I'm going to road test a set of pencils, I deliberately don't look up the information, just in case there's anything that might sort of sway me one way or the other. I tend to look it up after I've done this physical part here, and then just give the information. Just, as I said, I like it to be an unbiased opinion, you know. This is a very pleasant experience, a very pleasant colouring experience indeed, and I'm actually quite excited about some of the colours. This purple-blue combo, like this is giving me certain feelings. I'm quite liking this, and I'm thinking to myself I might use this in something. That's a good start. And I really want to use this teal green as well. I might just use that for this little accent colour. This is what I'm saying about getting excited about certain colours. Now the thing is, I need to find it in here. Where did you go? Teal green, there it's there. So that, again, this is one of the more muted shades, which we all need a little bit of that in our lives sometimes. And I'm going to grab the moss green, which is one of the really dark colours as well, like this. So they do have the stronger, darker colours, like they are there. Obviously looking at that green there, that shows you all you need to know. So I think they've done a pretty good job with this. And the thing is as well, I mean, with these types of pencils, it's very much down to a budget, because some of you will know as well, I'm quite happy to colour with Crayolas. This image over here, this was done with Crayolas. You don't need to spend a lot of money on a really expensive set of pencils. But what the problem with pencils like the Crayola pencils, which are obviously aimed at children, if you want good results with them, you have to work really, really hard. Like the pencils are trying to work against you all the time. Whereas with pencils like this is effortless. So if you are a beginner, you'll be able to learn and develop your skills without having to do so much grunt work. And that's a really nice thing. So if you can stretch to £15 or £16 in the UK, absolutely, I think so. So let's just take a wee zoom out there. Now, in terms of vibrancy, and you know, you've got comparisons all the way around here. These are all different pencil brands that have been used here. And you can see they're holding their own. You wouldn't single that image out and be like, oh, that's a cheap set of pencils, because it doesn't look like a cheap set of pencils. So all in all, I have to say, it's been a while since I've been so pleasantly surprised by a set of budget pencils, and I stick by that. They are a budget set, and it's for a number of factors that I would recommend them. It's a really good middle ground. I would say these, on the soft to hard scale of pencil cores, I would say that these are slightly to the soft side of medium, which is a great place to be, especially when you're learning to blend and layer your pencils as well, because you don't have to put in as much work. The colour laydown and the pigment load is really rich. which you tend to see in more expensive pencils. So yeah, we've got colour names. The barrel colours are really, really close to the core colours. And for someone like me that is a little visual creature, I really like that. The gold and the silver, not really colours that I would use very often, but perfectly acceptable. And absolutely 100% usable, you know, absolutely no doubt about that. So overall, I think these are a really well-rounded set of pencils, bar the few things that I mentioned, but I mean, you're going to get that with any set, and you can take that with a pinch of salt because a lot of that will be, you know, preference on my part, and I'm quite happy to admit to that. Admit to it like it's a terrible thing. So final thoughts then, 72 pencils, brilliant set size to start with. Quite a balanced colour range. I love the fact that there's some more muted colours in there. And also really impressed with the laydown, the amount of pigment, you know, how much colour is actually in there. And just general usage. Obviously the downsides, and this is not specific to the Amazon Basics pencils, the downsides apply to all budget pencils. Can't get them open stock. So when you run out of a pencil, you would have to buy an entire tin to get that one colour. And light fastness. For most people at the beginner stage with coloured pencils, it's unlikely that you are going to be hanging a lot of your work out in, you know, on display somewhere. So really the light fastness thing isn't too much of an issue. Light fastness is of course a colour's ability to resist fading. And that's really what you pay for with the higher grade pencils, is actually how light fast and how light resistant the colours are when they're out in the big bad world. So again, you know, not so much of a big deal, but just something to be aware of, but say not specific to these pencils, so you can't really call it a downside. I really like these. My only concern with pencils like this is if this tin got rattled about, you might be at a point where you would get a lot of breakages with these because they are quite soft. But other than that, I really don't have anything bad to say about them. So I'd highly recommend, guys. I hope this information has been interesting and helpful for you if you're trying to make a decision on a set of pencils to get. This really is a low risk option, and unless you're one of those outliers that just absolutely hates them, because that's always going to happen to some people, I would highly recommend these. The Arteza equivalent of these pencils are retailing on Amazon in the UK just now for £41, and I would wager that these are comparable, and you're talking about less than half the price. So just saying. I want to thank you all very much for watching, guys. I hope this has been useful for you, and I'll see you back in the cave on Thursday, so hopefully I will see some of you there. I'm hoping I'll see some of you later on this afternoon as well for our Fancy Pants members. We are having our members only live stream this afternoon, so I might catch some of you there. Busy in the cave. So have a great day, everyone. Bye bye for now.